Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Entertainment News. After a decade away, Gore Verbinski is back with a new sci-fi film. It's got Sam Rockwell in it, and it has a pretty cool first look image of him coming up in just a moment. You can see a sort of a crappy version of it down here below. We'll get to the better version in just a second and talk about this film a little bit. And I had no idea it was coming, and it's coming soon, so we'll find out all about that in just a moment. But before we do, just a quick reminder that if you choose to join us in the comment section below, you do have to be kind. You don't have to agree with me, but you can't be mean. You can't mistreat other people in the comment section if there's anyone there. But also, you can guarantee that if somebody's being rude to you, I'm going to put a stop to that. So we're going to build a nice, happy little community here one way or another. All right, then. Here we go. This comes from Bloody Disgusting, where a lot of my news comes from. I like to talk about horror and sci-fi and fantasy and a whole bunch of other things. But Sam Rockwell is from the future and first look at Gore Verbinski's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. And there is that first look image. Pretty cool. Sort of reminds me of Saw Gerrera in Andor and Rogue One and Clone Wars and Rebels and all the other places that he appeared. But he's got stuff flying around him. I don't know if he's in the process of traveling through time here. Otherwise, he looks kind of like a bum, but he has that respirator thing going on. Apparently, is there no air between times? I don't know. But it's pretty cool. He might just be crazy. We don't know. But perhaps he actually is a time traveler. Or perhaps traveling time makes you crazy. Could be that too. All right, then, let's read about the film. Gore Verbinski, The Ring, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl, is back with his first movie since 2016's A Cure for Wellness. A Cure for Wellness didn't go over that well, but I quite liked it. I think it was odd, it was different, and it's not bad. You know, maybe you don't go out to see it, but it's perfectly good watching at home. And his first ever independent film, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. That's a long title. He has a lot of long title films, actually. Above is your first look at Sam Rockwell in the sci-fi action comedy. We just looked at it, which lands in theaters on January 30th, 2026 via Briarcliff Entertainment. Yeah, so not too far along. And I think January 30th is probably, I mean, we used to think of it as a dumping ground, but I think film can have success pretty much any time of year now. And, January's not a bad place to be, lacking competition. Maybe there's a little bit of buildup with the awards season sort of beginning to take shape. But of course, this year you're going to have Avatar 3 having come out in December, but maybe it's a good double feature, something like that. I think it's not a bad place to put the film, really. Rockwell stars as a man claiming to be from the future who takes the patrons of an iconic Los Angeles diner hostage in search of unlikely recruits in a quest to save the world. And I wonder if it'll be like very insular, like mostly set in the diner. I think that would be kind of interesting. It would certainly save on the budget, but I like those sort of bottle episode type movies. Haley Lou Richardson, Michael Pena, Zazie Beetz, Asim Chandri, Tom Taylor, and Juno Temple round out the cast. Matthew Robinson, I Love in Monsters, The Invention of Lying, penned the script. Verbinski produces alongside Robert Kusler, Erwin Stoff, Ali Obst, and Denise Kyman. This film is wildly original, endlessly entertaining, and unlike anything audiences have seen before, said Briarcliff CEO Tom Ortenberg. After seeing it, we immediately knew Briarcliff was the perfect partner to distribute Gore Verbinski's first independent bonkers movie. We couldn't be more excited to share his vision with audiences across the country. Yeah, and I think, I don't know why he sort of went away after Lone Ranger. Obviously, it was a big risk, a lot of money, but, he just given Disney 3 absolutely massive and pretty well-received films with the Pirates of the Caribbean. And, maybe he decided to step away from other reasons. I don't get into people's lives, but he sort of went off the map after Lone Ranger, which in itself I think is perfectly entertaining. Maybe it's a little bit overstuffed, but it's sort of what you come to expect from him, right? He makes those big, epic films, and if he'd showed up making a film that was smaller than Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End, everyone would say, well, that's a letdown. So I think he probably threw in everything, including the kitchen sink, and gave us that film, and it didn't go over well, but it's still a fun ride. So, I hope that wasn't related to the reason that he sort of went away from the industry for quite a while, but it's been 10 years since A Cure for Wellness, which is hard to believe in itself, but I'm glad to have him back and hopefully working in this sort of indie film realm for the first time. I think maybe it could be a good place for him. Because Lord knows that we need more people of high caliber talent making good movies at reasonable budgets, because the whole industry has sort of gone bonkers sort of on that top end where everything costs $300 million for no particular reason. But yeah, I'm hopeful. I think the restraint of an indie film, but also the knowledge and the experience of having done big films makes for a pretty potent combination. I'd like to see more directors who have worked in the big time sort of scale things back and sort of do these projects where there are restrictions on budget and resources. I think it really creates an interesting mix. And we see that on, in a course of a career on the upward trajectory. People sort of come out of nowhere and they just create these amazing films on a shoestring budget, and then they get the big blockbusters, which may or may not really pan out. But I think in this case, Verbinski taking all of his experience and coming back down sort of to earth and doing indie film is a pretty cool combination. And of course, we have Sam Rockwell there, who's always dependable, just like an awesome force of nature on the screen. So I'm interested to see what he can do in the lead role here. So there you have it. Good luck, have fun, don't die, coming out at the end of January 2026. Let us know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you again soon.